Hi, this is Franz, and this is my walkthrough of a case study for an app called Jipper that I did while studying at CareerFoundry. So, Jipper is a maritime weather and navigation app that has forecast capabilities, a so-called departure planner, and weather routing, which is similar to regular GPS routing, and also customizable optimal weather notifications. So first I did my best to define the problem. I did some research and some competitive analysis, which helped me inform the problem statement. Sailing enthusiasts rely on multiple apps or websites to access weather information, leading to inconvenience and time wastage. Existing weather apps lack essential features such as departure planners, optimal weather notifications, and weather routing to help sailors plan their trips effectively. So I did competitive analysis of Windy, Predict Wind, and Windfinder, the three giants in this field, and I found them to be very data heavy and not with a very good and beautiful user interface. So Jipper has the opportunity to differentiate itself by offering a user-friendly and intuitive interface while maintaining essential features and accuracy required by sailors and other boaters. So the next step was to understand my users and to understand the context around sailing and the use of maritime forecast apps. I concluded a survey and a couple of interviews. So in this survey, I was able to find out which were the most important data to my users and what kind of screen they prefer to look at while finding out about this data. I also found out about their habits when they use the app and so on. I did 4 interviews remotely and aggregated the quotes, the findings in through affinity mapping, and this eventually led to the creation of two user personas. There's day sailors, such as Glenn here. They are intermediary, so their needs are more about intuitiveness and just a beautiful interface that gives them the data that they need. And then there's a secondary persona, Sabina here. She's an offshore racer, which means she's an expert. So she has more. She's more interested in improving her performance. So that's more about becoming better in races and regattas. So this led to two user journeys. There's Glenn's here. When he checks his weather on Monday to find out what the weather is like during the weekend. And as you can see in the emotions here, he's apprehensible, worried, but in the end, he's happy because he's found out that he's able to go sailing and he goes sailing. But Sabine, on the other hand, her user journey is about setting up an alarm for optimal weather. And so you can see she becomes hopeful and happy here because she gets a text message, a notification saying weather is favorable in a couple of days. But then she actually receives a second notification a few days later saying the weather is bad. So I wanted to do this to investigate how I could make the user feel better, either through copy or maybe suggest that she sets a new alarm for a new time frame. So then I did user flows of 4 main tasks: checking the forecast in advance, checking the forecast while sailing, saving a trip to the calendar, and finding the best route. And while you do this, you also set up weather notifications. This led to the next part of the project, the ideation. So I did a card sorting session to find out how the users would uh, arrange and group the different features in the app. And this led to my sitemap. And I started sketching wireframes. So there are three main features. There's forecast, 10 days and 24 hours. But in the forecast is also something called sail mode, which is dedicated and mutes all external notifications, so you can focus on sailing, which was one of the wishes of the users in the interviews. Next is the departure planner, which is in fact a calendar with color coding. So red means bad weather, green means good weather, and this is based on the settings that you make, the weather preferences. If you click on a day, you also enter a day view with a wind map. So this makes it easy to know which day and which hour you can sail. Lastly, there's the weather outing, which is in fact very similar to the way we use Waze or Google Maps. You just enter two locations from A to B and you get a suggested route based on the weather. So if you go into the turn-by-turn guide, you have the direction that you're supposed to keep going in and for how long. So this eventually led to a mid-5 prototype that I could test the usability of, and you can see how it's still very crude, but it served its purpose. There was text and data, and the interactions were in place, so I could start finding out what worked and what didn't work. And that's actually the next part of the project, the usability test. So I did a test with 7 users remotely. I measured errors, learnability, navigability, and user satisfaction. And I aggregated the data to Affinity Mapping and later in a rainbow spreadsheet, so I could rate the different errors and observations according to their severity. I could see the frequency of each issue, and that helped me prioritize which issues I should tackle first. So, for instance, here I made a list of the top 5 things that I thought should be fixed. But later on, I actually did implement changes to all the different errors that I found. I did a bunch of different tests and implemented different design rules and guidelines from Google and the WCAG. And as you can see while I scroll through here really fast, the interface got more and more refined and started looking more and more like a real thing. So there's also a feedback session where peers at CareerFoundry commented on my UI choices and helped me with copy. So yeah, what you see to the right is what actually winds up in the final app. So the result is a user-friendly, intuitive, and beautiful app that answers users' calls for one-stop solution for forecast, departure planner, weather routing, and customizable notifications. So I used a number of research methods which enabled me to develop this app. So in this walkthrough, I have really run through all the steps that in reality consist of hundreds of pages of text and hundreds of sketches and wireframes. So it's a mountain of a project. In the future, I will keep adjusting the screens for increased usability and visual appeal, as well as redesigning some flows and add screens that were not a focus of this project. I will also conduct new usability tests to gather feedback on how the data can be improved. Well, that's everything for today. Thank you for watching this video. Bye.